Okay, everybody, I'm back. Here you can see I have just about every piece of bisque-fired pottery out that I've done. Now it's time to glaze. I need to get some of this done. I have a kiln set up behind me. I'll show you that in a minute. And yeah, we just need to get this bisque fired and done. So we're not going to rush through it. We're going to not bisque fire, we're going to glaze fire this tomorrow. But this bisque stuff needs to be glazed, and I'll show you kind of the technique I use to glaze this stuff before I put it in the kiln, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's the kiln. I've got it kind of set up. I had to take this out of the shed. Oh my god, I'm so tired. I vacuumed out. I've got all the crumbs that I could think of to get out of there. I also have a lid ready to go on top of it. Over here that will be sealed down, and there's a hole because we do an updraft gas reduction. I'll give you a little better look inside there. You can see the probe sticking out is the actual temperature piece that will be taking the temperature of the kiln as it fires. So yeah, I've basically converted this kiln into a gas kiln. And here's a shot of the kiln from the side. You'll see there's two holes. I had to drill those holes in there and create that because, you know, you got to get some burners in there and make those things hot. So that bottom shelf you see is really not for pottery. It's for the actual buffer of the actual fire that comes up. So it buffers it out. Let me show you that again. So yeah, if you look inside there, you'll see that one first shelf is really a buffer for fire. You'll see it's cracked, probably even. They always crack. They get very hot. You don't want to put anything on there. I learned. Especially thin, they start to bubble, they overheat. So there's the beginning of our kiln shelf building. Now we're going to glaze some of this stuff, and we're going to put it in the kiln little at a time just to see what fits, what doesn't fit. Now I do have my favorite pieces set aside, but yeah, we'll just see what fits. So here's some pieces we picked out. We know for sure want to go in the kiln. I know that I'm going to get some of this other stuff in there, but I've got my favorites. There's one over there in the back with this. It's kind of lopsided. Looks like, I think it's this one right here I'm talking about. Yes, I mean, no, it's this one, and this one back there is really cool. I think that we're going to put in the kiln. I'm not sure exactly what color glazes I'm going to use. I've got some ideas from my last time I glazed, but we'll just have to go with the flow. Like I said, most of it is just the kiln. And then those shot glasses you see over on the side there coming through right there in the middle now are going to be kind of like test pieces, and hopefully the shot glasses will come out nice. I'll be able to give some of those away, or sake glasses, or toothpick holders. If you're not a drinker or anything, you can do toothpicks. But there we have most of my pottery that I've done that's unglazed. I do have the greenware now going onto the shelves again, more stuff. So hang in there and I'll show you how we're glazing, and we'll go from there. So one of the things that we're going to put on top is another kiln shelf. As you can see, this one's got some spots in it. The nice thing about the kiln shelf is that it'll hold pottery, of course, but we also put a wash on it that I'll show you in a second. That helps the kiln shelf, and if anything falls on it, it won't stick. So you can just wipe off the kiln wash, and then you won't have to grind down the shelf or ruin your pottery when it sticks to the shelf. So you just got to be very careful not to get glaze on the bottom of your pottery, but you never know if something drips or does get on the bottom. This really helps. It comes off real easy and chips. So when you're doing your kiln shelf, you got to really examine it closely to make sure if there's any old pieces of glaze on there that was from the past. You just got to get that off, because what can happen is it can stick to the bottom of your pot, and your pot will stick to the bottom of the shelf. So that looks pretty good. Washed it down pretty good. Still scraping it off with my hands here. Careful, I usually wear gloves to do that, so you don't hurt your hand. Excuse me. And a little glove on there. Scrape down the shelf with the hands a little bit, get all that loose stuff off. That's all I really do. Then I put another coat on it. And you have to mix that. It's a powdered form. It's kiln wash in a bucket or in a bag here. It's dried. We're just gonna put some of this Oops. Kiln wash, high temp kiln wash. Excuse me. That's just a white powder. That's going breathing in. Mixes with the water and then goes on the kiln shelf. And you'll see that in a moment. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and mix some of this in with some water and make it a little pasty. Basically, just sprinkle just a little bit. Don't breathe. Hold breath. Take a little water, just a little. And mix it in. A little more. It's the idea of making a paste. One more. It's okay if it splashes a little. You don't want too much water on it. But you gotta get it pasty. Piece like paint. And it's starting to get thicker. And paint it. It's just nice, like a paint thickness that dries really fast. Cover those spots right on the shelf. So that's what you're trying to do, get those spots covered. Try to make it as even as you can. Now you may want to put a couple coats on if you don't have any coats at all on your pottery, on your shelf. So you can have a good coat, but I've got a few coats on, so I think I'm okay. Just keep painting that on a little bit. You should let it dry a little and then come back. You're going to do more coats, but I think I'm going to be alright here. Okay, so that's done. Now you're going to want to put this in the kiln very carefully after it dries, but not before it dries, because obviously you'll get it all over your fingers. So now we can just let that dry and we'll put it in our kiln, and that will be a good protective surface for any glazes that might hit the kiln shelf. Okay, so the first thing you want to do use a sponge and wipe your pottery down so it's clean.